Imagine, morning, bus, a job you dislike. You stare out the window but don't really see the city. In your head, it's the premiere of a new season of My Past Mistakes and a troubling trailer for What If Everything Goes Wrong? Sound familiar? This state isn't just a bad mood, it's a mental trap that 9 out of 10 people fall into. Neurobiologists call it the default mode network, essentially a sleep mode for consciousness that, by default, replays old memories and future anxieties, burning up to 20% of your body's total energy, even when you're doing nothing. In this video, we won't just expose its mechanism, we'll give you the keys to leave the theater. And here's a shocking fact. The main jailer in this cinema is yourself, but you are also the only one who can shout, "Cut." So why do we voluntarily agree to be passive viewers in the movie theater of our own minds when we could pick up the camera and become the director right now? This question is the starting point of our journey. Our goal isn't just to find an answer, but to turn it into a step-by-step guide. In the next few minutes, you'll receive 3 practical director's tools. We'll learn how to rewrite the script of negative thoughts in real time, change the camera's angle to find solutions instead of problems, and hold auditions to fire your inner critic once and for all. These tools aren't just psychology. These are techniques used in various forms by everyone from Special Forces operatives reprogramming their stress responses to Fortune 500 CEOs making decisions in uncertain conditions. Stay tuned to get your director's remote control. This viewer mode isn't your fault. It's a factory setting of the brain, which loves autopilot. Imagine your brain as a powerful computer, but it's still running an operating system installed in childhood. It launches old programs. Don't stick your neck out. Don't trust, simply because they're familiar and require less RAM. Our task isn't to change the hardware, but to update the software. It creates a default movie from habitual reactions, fears, and beliefs because it's energy efficient. The problem is that this movie is based on an old, someone else's, or simply a bad script. And while it plays on repeat, real life with all its possibilities passes by outside the window. But this endless showing can be interrupted. The first step is the most difficult and the most important. You need to realize that there's another seat in this cinema, a chair labeled Director, and it's waiting for you. The difference between these two roles is fundamental. A viewer reacts. They cry at a sad scene and laugh at a funny one. A director creates. They choose what the next scene will be. A viewer says, "This happened to me." A director asks, "What will I do about this?" This isn't a question of controlling the world. It's a question of controlling interpretation. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, a concentration camp survivor, formulated it this way. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. A viewer lives without that space, on autopilot. A director lives in that space. That's where all the power lies. Right now, for a second. What movie is playing in your head at this moment? Is it a drama about a lack of money? A thriller about the future? Or a comedy of the absurd about everyday trifles? You don't need to answer aloud. Just name the genre to yourself. This is the first step. You've stopped simply watching and started analyzing. By remaining a viewer, we pay a terrible price, lost time and opportunities. A Harvard University study showed that, on average, our mind wanders. That is, watches an internal movie about the past or future, 47% of our waking hours. For almost half our lives, we are literally absent. By moving into the director's chair, you reclaim those 47%. We live in reaction, not in action. But as soon as you take that seat, you get the main prize, authorship. The ability not just to live through the day, but to create it. To choose what to focus the camera of your attention on. Awareness is a spark, but to light a fire, you need a tool. And the most powerful tool of any director isn't the camera, it's the script. And now, we'll learn how to rewrite it. Let's call this technique freeze frame and redub. This is a simplified version of one of the most effective methods in psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, proven effective in hundreds of clinical studies. Every time an old record starts playing in your head, "I won't succeed," "I'm not good enough," "everything went wrong again," your task is to do two things. First, hit the mental pause button. As soon as you catch yourself in a negative automatic thought, mentally shout, "Freeze frame." Imagine the image in your mind freezing. This is a critically important moment. This mental shout acts as pattern interruption. It's like snapping your fingers in front of a hypnotized person's face. You break the neural pathway. The thought was running on autopilot, and give yourself precious split seconds to forge a new path. You are no longer a participant in the drama. You are an editor looking at a single frame. You have separated yourself from the thought. It no longer controls you. Now, looking at that frozen frame, give it a new voiceover. The script, "I failed the task," transforms into, "I gained experience and now know how to do better." The script, "Nobody values me," becomes, "How can I demonstrate my value more clearly?" We're not lying to ourselves. We're changing a destructive line into a constructive one. In essence, you're training what psychologist Martin Seligman called an optimistic explanatory style. You stop perceiving failure as a permanent and pervasive phenomenon, always like this, and start seeing it as a temporary and localized event. It didn't work out this time. Now, imagine your closest friend or someone who believes in you watching this same movie about your failure. What voiceover would they offer? Most likely, it would be far more supportive and kind. This technique activates the same brain centers responsible for empathy towards others. Researcher Kristen Neff proved that self-compassion is not a weakness, but a trainable skill that directly reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. Sometimes the best way to rewrite a script is to look at it through someone else's loving eyes. Rewriting the words is only half the battle. But what if the picture itself poisons everything? What if your inner cameraman constantly shoots the world from the most unfavorable angle? That's what our next tool is about. Our attention is a camera, and it has a zoom. You can point it in a close-up on a problem, and then it will fill the entire screen, your entire world. It doesn't just fill the screen, it distorts reality, making a small crack in the wall look like an abyss. This isn't just a beautiful metaphor. In the famous invisible gorilla experiment, people focused on counting basketball passes completely missed a person in a gorilla suit walking right through the center of the screen. Your problem is the ball. While you obsessively count passes, you don't see the gorilla, the solution that was right in front of you all along. Or you can pull back to a wide shot and see that this problem is just a small element in the grand picture of your life, where there are also friends, hobbies, past successes, and future opportunities. When you encounter a difficulty, do the 3 angles exercise. First angle, close up. State the problem in one brutally honest sentence. Second, medium shot. How will this situation look in the context of this week? Is it really that important against the backdrop of 7 days of your life? Third, wide shot. Will you even remember this in a year or in 5 years? This question itself, asked honestly, nullifies 90% of daily anxieties. This is a modern adaptation of the Stoic technique they called the view from above. Emperor Marcus Aurelius mentally rose above Rome to see the insignificance of his worries in the scale of the empire and then the entire earth. We do the same, but in the scale of time. This technique instantly reduces the level of catastrophe. Now let's introduce a game element, a control scale. From 1 to 10, how much is the aspect your camera is focused on under your personal control? If the rating is less than 5, there's no point in keeping your focus on it. This is a direct reference to Stephen Covey's circle of influence. Effective people don't waste energy on the circle of concern, the weather, politics, other people's opinions. They invest 100% of their energy in the circle of influence, their actions, their reactions, their skills. Your camera of attention is your most valuable resource. Directing it at what you don't control is energetic suicide. It's like trying to film a storm by yelling at the clouds and wind. A professional director will move the camera to what they can control. The protagonist who builds shelter, finds a way, stays calm. So, we've learned to rewrite the script and change the camera angle. But what if the same actor constantly appears in our movie, ruining every scene with their eternal, "You can't do it." I'm talking about your inner critic, the main antagonist of this movie. Each of us has this actor. Its job is to play the same role, to doubt, to devalue, to scare. It's not evil, it's just trying to protect you from failure in an old, ineffective way. We inherited this actor from our ancestors. Its real job isn't to criticize, but to predict the worst-case scenario, so you wouldn't leave the cave and get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. The problem is, there are no more tigers, but the actor remains and continues to play its role in the office and at home. But you are the director, and you decide who gets the main role and who to fire from the set. Let's call this technique casting and firing. Step 1. Casting. When a critical thought appears, don't argue with it. Just say, "Ah, it's you again, critic. Thanks, your opinion is noted." You give it a name, separating it from yourself. In psychology, this is called externalization, a powerful technique from narrative therapy. When you give a problem a name, you stop being an anxious person and become a person to whom the actor anxiety sometimes pays a visit. And the host decides how long the guest stays. Step 2. Firing. Tell it, "Your role isn't needed in this scene. Right now, I need a different actor, my inner coach." You're not fighting the thought, you simply don't give it screen time. Imagine, you're about to start a new project. The critic whispers, "You don't have enough talent." You respond, "Thanks, critic, I hear you. But right now, I'm inviting curiosity and courage onto the set. Let's see what happens if I just try." You change the actors, and the entire tone of the scene instantly shifts from drama to an adventure film. This critic isn't alone. It has a whole troupe of nagging colleagues who often appear in your internal movie uninvited. Maybe it's the anxious predictor who always foresees the worst, or the victim of circumstances who always blames everyone else. Simply recognizing them is already half the battle in casting. Write in the comments which actor is your most nagging. The script is clean, the camera is in place, the actors are cast. But one final touch is missing, which sets 90% of any film's atmosphere: the soundtrack. Your emotional state is that soundtrack. The same scene, for example, a conversation with your boss, can feel like a thriller, a drama, or even a comedy, depending on the music playing inside. And this is closer to scientific truth than you might think. According to the James Lang theory, we don't run from a bear because we're afraid. We're afraid because we notice our body has already started running. Heart pounding, breath quickening. First, physiology, then emotion. This gives us a key to control. The good news, you are the composer. You can change this soundtrack. The fastest way to change the soundtrack is through your body. Feeling anxious music? Turn on the physical mixer. First, straighten your shoulders and back. This isn't esotericism, but biochemistry. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy, in her famous research, showed that just 2 minutes in a power pose increases testosterone, the confidence hormone, and decreases cortisol, the stress hormone. Second, take 3 slow, deep breaths, activating the parasympathetic system, your body's built-in panic brake. Third, smile for 10 seconds, even if it's forced. Your brain will receive an all-clear signal and start adjusting the music to match that false note. A director also controls the external sound. What music do you listen to in the mornings? What news do you watch? Who do you interact with? All of these are notes that make up your daily soundtrack. Think of it as a mental diet. You wouldn't eat spoiled food, so why feed your brain toxic news or interactions that drag you down? Curating your information flow is as essential a hygiene as brushing your teeth. Consciously choose what sets you on the right wavelength. So, we have all the elements: a rewritten script, the right camera angle, the correct actors, and an adjusted soundtrack. Now let's assemble all this into a single, simple, and clear protocol that you can use every day. Your personal final edit. So here is your daily director's protocol. Just 4 steps. First, awareness. What movie am I currently involved in? Catch yourself in the viewer's chair. Second, reframing. How can I rewrite this line to be more constructive? Rewrite the script. Third, Focus. Where is the camera of my attention directed? On the problem or on the solution? Change the angle. Fourth, state. What soundtrack am I choosing for this scene? Manage your emotions. Let's call this protocol the director's remote control. It's your daily reality control panel. 4 buttons always at hand. Your life isn't a movie being shown to you. It's a movie you're filming, every day, every minute. Don't wait for ideal conditions or a perfect script. Pick up the camera you have and start shooting your masterpiece, right now. As writer Anais Nin said, "We don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are." By becoming a director, you don't change the world, you change yourself, and then the world changes for you. And now, a question for you, as directors. What prevents you most from taking your seat? The burden of old scripts from the past or the anxious trailer about the future? Just write one word in the comments: script or trailer. Let's see which is more common.